we're in this case and we're talking about different pieces, would you be able to tell me a little bit about what Aquiloni is and what it means to you and why it is that the little pieces represent Aquiloni?
Well, Aquiloni began, I think, when I was about 5 in kindergarten. I remember doing something where I used to make kites. I used to string little straws and these pieces of paper. And I don't know, maybe every decade or so, very casually, I'd end up stringing things together, some sort. Really, seriously, like over the years, wherever I lived, but I didn't think anything of them. And then I think about 2004, no, maybe earlier, I made a book called Aquiloni, which is the other part of the exhibit. And you open the book, and this string of colored pieces comes out. And as a result of that, I finally did this series of installations that never stopped, and they just got bigger and bigger and bigger and went all over the place. They're the original Aquiloni, not the original ones, but the original ones that started being in the book and then in several pieces. It's really beautiful handmade paper. It's, you know, Reeves BFK, good printmaking paper that I would carefully paint with really good paint on both sides, and then very consciously decide whether I would cut them or tear them. There been over 15,000 pieces, and they're strung together on really beautiful silk thread. And I would also occasionally tear old prints and special pieces of paper that sometimes I would coat in beeswax. But the majority of the pieces are these really beautiful painted pieces which never fade. Then I also started, you know, stringing together, like I said, card catalogs. This is the most recent variety of Aquiloni, and postcards and all kinds of cards and other things. But the majority are these colored ones. They were in so many places, and they travel. They become little tiny pieces. I literally filled a gallery in Italy with over 10,000 of them, and I just make them into little tiny packets, put them in Amazon boxes, and I could fill like huge spaces with maybe 3 suitcases worth of these highly labor-intensive, highly compressed, very beautiful pieces. And here's the book, actually. But you can't see it very well here because it's kind of hidden. So when I was doing it in Italy, and I think it was 2005, it was great. The Italian children are really well behaved, and about 40 preschoolers, they were between the age of 3 and 5, they came to visit the installation. And there was the entire gallery. It was a 16th century building, was just filled, every inch of it, with the Aquiloni, which also means kite in Italian. And you could just kind of meander through a path, you know, in this whole space. So the little children are like fascinated, they're loving it, and the teachers. And finally I said, you know what, let's just let them loose. Let them run through it. This may be a wild experiment. I'm going to video it and let's see what happens. It wasn't bad. It only took me maybe 20 minutes to fix up with 40 kids running through an entire space. They were in heaven. And the next day, I got back this big, very unexpectedly, this big packet from all the teachers. The kids had done drawings. Now, mind you, they're only like 3 to 5. The little kids had done all these wonderful drawings. Actually, it says the name of the school, Scuola dell'Infanzia ex Lucca. It's thanks from the children and the teachers. And they did their impressions of the show. Now, these are really little kids.
It's wonderful.
And one of them, I love, look at art. Now, the teacher obviously wrote that for them, but aren't they great?
It's amazing.
One of them called it the house with, was it bangs? The house with bangs, yeah, or was the house with fringe. They gave great names for it.
So do you put this book in all of your exhibits with Aquiloni?
No, not really. In fact, so what I did was I made it while the show was going on. Right then and there, I decided I'd make it and include it in the show so the teachers and the students could see it. And then I had little tiny photos of the kids. The size of the Aquiloni, you could hardly see them because they're little tiny photos. So this was just a fun piece that happened, you know, on the occasion. And this is what, all of these projects have a real community aspect to them.